have representation. We have representation this morning or from this region on the state's leadership team for the EV workforce strategy. So it's a, we're really fortunate. We've got MVMC and YSU represented on that leadership team for the state. So I know, Alex, you've been a little bit more a part of it. So I just wanted to be able to share, and I hate to put you on the spot here, but any updates? The state is investing $564 million in electric vehicle workforce. And so, Alex, is there anything you'd like to share? I know you've been a part of some of these conversations and.
Yeah. So it's been really interesting to see the work that Accenture's been doing to develop what those critical career pathways are for EV. So it's been interesting to see what like the entry level education is for each occupation, what the training needed would be for each occupation. And so it's been really cool for me to be a part of that conversation and to be able to talk about with the group that's doing this, to be able to talk about what we're able to provide here in the Mahoning Valley and how we're able to support the EV workforce.
Mm-hmm. And so the state has a very, it's kind of methodology of how they're going to roll out everything and what the focus is going to be on in phases. And so we will continue to share some of those things with you as well. Some of the other things that we're doing, because of the capture of the audience that we have, is also later on today, we actually have YSU faculty who's convening for our first EV think tank. So we have Foxconn coming in, and it's really just to understand too. So, we address a lot of the items on the workforce side, but what could we be doing, right? And you're going to hear me say a lot that the key to a vibrant economy is an educated economy, and making sure that we are going beyond just skilling for the trades and skilling for the work that's here, but making sure that we are really trying to innovate and think differently about how we get those individuals into a more educated workforce, or get people on a path to education and keep them there, as part of this lifelong learning continuum. So I'll be sure to share with you things that the faculty members too are coming out with, so we can start thinking about how we kind of holistically address the workforce strategies, both at a the technician level, the engineering level, and the EV Academy with Foxconn. We are finalizing our MOU. It's been a journey with us, understanding how to really get this partnership going, and understanding too, we have some supply chain considerations with the two buildings that we're going to be procuring, or not that Foxconn will be owning, but we will be operating within. And then we also are working on our EV Academy website, so that we will start getting resources and things published here in the upcoming, probably in the next month or so. But I really just wanted to call out the leadership of this Valley here with the MVMC and YSU being a part of the state's leadership strategy for EV. And, if there's any questions or things that you want us to take back as well, or things that are top of mind for all of you, we want to be the voice for everybody. So on this journey. So that is really the only update that I had. It just really trying to keeping everybody informed on, what's emerging on a bigger scale on a statewide level. So thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer and Alex. We are very fortunate to have the facilitation of this coalition to lean on those updates and our bigger regional support when we think about the new industry that we have coming in. Next, I will kick it over to Gina Peplow from Jobs for Ohio's Graduates. Come on up.
Awesome. Hi, guys. I'm Gina. I'm the Employer and Community Engagement Professional for Jobs for Ohio's Graduates. I work between Summit County and Trumbull County, and I'm curious to ask how many of you have heard of Jobs for Ohio's Graduates? Oh, good. I'm happy to see that. Awesome. So updates for Trumbull County currently is we are moving into a busier season with potential summer work youth employment program that services our youth. We work with students 16 to 24 years old in the Trumbull County area to build them up in a lifestyle that's going to be successful in their vision. A lot of what we do as well at Jobs for Ohio's graduates is we create opportunities that they otherwise have not seen for themselves. I'm a Warren City resident, born and raised. I understand the challenges that are presented in Warren City, and as well as being a Warren Harding graduate, you know, the challenges that I saw in my community as well growing up. So now we're taking these youth that, you know, are in the Trumbull County area. A lot of population does reside in the Warren City area, and showing them that there's pathways to anything that they can see that they want to set up for themselves. A lot of what Jobs for Ohio's graduates does is specialize in youth workforce development, and, you know, creating opportunities for those kids. So I use the term kids, youth, students. It's very interchangeable. Ultimately, what I mean is our population that we serve. So right now we're getting a gauge of employers that we can collaborate with in this summer for youth work experience opportunity. It will be a 6-week program, and it'll be a pay that is subsidized with partnership of Job and Family Services, that our youth can then get work experiences on a job site that they find interest in. What's unique is this year we're creating pathway opportunities with these youth. So we're picking their brains, asking where they want to see themselves grow, where they want to develop, and trying to match it up with a career field they want to have some interest in, as opposed to here's a place, I hope it works out. You know, we're trying to re-strategize an opportunity to really see some immersion, then create those lifelong opportunities to move jobs to careers. So I guess that's my small ask of you. If you have those opportunities for those youth in the Mahoning Valley, more specifically Trumbull County, to get those kids ready to work and host them for a 6-week stint to create those opportunities that they can see, you know, maybe this is something they want to be doing. As well as a big thing that we're doing right now in Trumbull County with Jobs for Ohio's graduates is trying to immerse ourselves into the school system. We're very present in Niles McKinley High School, but we do have other pathways that we work with the kids. We have out of school, which is where I used to specialize. I was a career specialist for 3.5 years as an out of school, working with the population, generally 18 to 24, and these could be youth that were high school dropouts, or maybe they did graduate, but now they're not quite sure where they want to be and what they want to do. So we create those conversations around career-based opportunities, as well as if you are a dropout, we have GED programming on site at our Warren office to then, you know, get people GED graduated. And it's nice because we even have a whole graduation ceremony, cap, gown, the whole thing. So to really show that it's a wonderful accomplishment, it opens many doors. As well as we have in-school programming, which again, we have that presence in Niles McKinley High School, where we have a specialist in the school who works with youth that might not be on the path to graduation, might have challenges at home, generally falling into those categories. But we don't only service those kids. It could also be the honor student, the valedictorian could be in the job program and just needing some job skills, or maybe being there as a leader to those who need a little bit more help, because I feel it's better to learn from your peers. So they're there to help build them up. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting more involved in the school systems around here, building ourselves up and creating more programming opportunities to then alleviate a lot of work that goes into shaping a young person so that they're committed to the community that raised them. So I too, again, I'm not a Warren City resident anymore. I'm McDonald, so I'm like almost there, but I stayed here and I'm happy to be here. And I want to see that too with our youth that graduate from these areas. So thank you. And I do have some information to pass out today, but you guys will be seeing a lot more of me. Again, I'm Gina Petlow.
Thank you.
I mean, do I need no introduction or? Just kidding.
I definitely can. I just want to figure out.
Good morning again, everybody. I am Jerry Jenkins. I'm the executive director of My Path Mahoning Valley, which, as I tell people, is my paid gig. But today what I'm here to do is to talk to you a little bit about about Youngstown Works. And as I look around the room here, I see almost everybody here has heard the Youngstown Works story, either by choice or by force. So I don't know that we need to go into all that. And if there are those here who are not as familiar, forgive me. I've tried to start our walk from the beginning and bring you to the present and into the future. When we first started to convene, Julie Michael Smith said, she said, do we want this group to only be a facilitator, a convener of job fairs, hiring events? And of course, we also don't know. And now, of course, now we're in our second year of really accomplishing something. And people are saying, well, what do you do besides job fairs? So yeah, hiring events. So Melissa asked me to kind of talk to everybody and bring you up to speed. So if you want to go to the next slide, Melissa. I'll put my glasses on. I had a birthday yesterday and now I really have to need my reading glasses. So we were created during the pandemic, when it became really clear to us that there was a gap between the number of jobs available and the people who were working, who were able to work. And there seemed to be a disconnect in how to connect people with jobs. So, I mean, it seems really simple, right? But with everything closed down, there were a lot of benefits for people who said, I really would rather stay home and not contract COVID, right? But then employers were beginning to say, well, hey, we can't be open as much as we want to be. We've got work at good paying jobs for people. So there were so many nonprofits and educational institutions and training organizations that had opportunities to get people ready for these positions that we said, okay, we've got to try to find a way to get them together. So our mission started off by being to raise the overall standard of living in Youngstown. Why in Youngstown? Because it was Youngstown who provided us with the seed money. Our members, we decided to develop a consortium, educational, nonprofit institutions. All of us had a common goal. The common goal, connecting the job seekers with employers who need workers. Seems like a simple zero-sum game. And our population served are the graduating high school seniors, because not every high school senior goes to college. My Path Mahoning Valley started life as the Mahoning Valley College Access Program, where our job was to facilitate ease of access to college for first generation students, and also for maybe students who might have a hard time paying other than tuition, lab fees, books, et cetera, travel, et cetera, back and forth. So you can go to the next slide, Melissa. Through adults in transition and then returning citizens. Again, as I just said, we received our seed money from the city of Youngstown, and we began meeting monthly at the Oak Hill Collaborative, which was very generous with space and time for us. We started with kind of a small group of nonprofit agencies, people that I had met through a Zoom meeting for the community development block grant process. And I'm just here to tell you 70 people is too many for a Zoom call. So then we moved on. We started to talk about who else needed to be at the table. And then we moved on to add educational institutions, people who did training for people. And then other interested partners kind of came to the fore. So we developed a logo, a website, which you are all welcome to peruse, and a general identity. So during our initial meetings, I don't know that we were ready to, start and hit the ground running, but circumstances deemed that we needed to do that. First, Youngstown State came to us asking our support for a project and a letter campaign that they wanted to put together. Like, all right, sure, why not? But then we just started to talk about the ongoing issues, the employment issues surrounding COVID. And we said, you know what? We have got to get people to work. We have got to do what we can to raise the general standards here in the city of Youngstown and eventually for the Mahoning Valley. So we said, well, let's try it. Let's try to create a centralized event where we can put those folks together. Next slide, Melissa. So we did. We picked a central location that was also on the WRTA bus line. That was very, very important to us so people could get there. Stambaugh Auditorium on Fifth Avenue. Most of you are familiar with where that is near downtown Youngstown. And our first event on March 29th at Stambaugh was a freebie. It was free of charge. We had employers, educational and training institutions, and we had resource agencies, and we had a full house. It was very, very, very crowded, which was a great thing. And we probably had about 250 people come through. So our partner, one of our partners at the beginning and then growing into what we were doing at Youngstown Works was the chamber. And all of a sudden employers were calling the chamber saying, hey, what about this hiring event? You're going to do that again? Are we going to do that again? And so we said, all right, if you want to do it again, we can do it again. So then we had it on October, we had the next one October 4th, but partly because by then we had our second round of funding and the city was saying, maybe we don't want to pay for an event. Maybe, we need to support you in other ways, but, we'll give you money, but not for an event. So we charged. We had people register. We charged for lunch if they wanted it because we had a planning committee and our planning committee said, sometimes people don't want to bother with lunch. Okay, so we had them pay for lunch if they wanted to. Again, we had employers, educational and training opportunities all together under one roof. Full house once again, even with the registration, and again, about another 250 people. It was interesting because it runs from 10 to 2. And employers very often will decide to break down early to, well, I'm not talking to anybody, I can break down and get out of here, right? There were several employers who said to me on the October 4th event, I was going to leave, I was going to go, and I couldn't because people kept coming in and coming in and coming in. So that was happening. So we're gonna do it again. So the next event is April 25th. That's a Tuesday, 2 weeks from today. Again, $40 registration fee and lunches. And so far we're about, according to Melissa, we're about three quarters full. So because we've entered in, Youngstown Works has entered into an agreement with the chamber to facilitate registration for us. And that is to save my sanity. Because if I had to do that, I think I would be melted in little tiny pieces here. So it's coming along quite well. But again, how are we not hiring event people, right? How are we not that? So our future plans, we were a very active participant in the TAG grant process, and we're proud to do so because, excuse me, Youngstown Works picks up where My Path Mahoning Valley leaves off. In My Path Mahoning Valley, we are serving school students between 6th and 12th grade to try to build career awareness, right? And so when they graduate from high school, originally we were like, okay, they're good, they graduate, they're out of here, they're done. I don't know what happens to them. But with about only a quarter of the schools we service, and that's Youngstown, Warren, and Camel, sending students directly to college, it doesn't make any sense to spend all of our energy on that 25%. Now, so we build pathways with college, we have career tech, accelerated programs, military, if they want to find a way to pay for college in the future, and directly to the workforce. But by directly to the workforce, I don't mean McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts. Now, I patronize both locations frequently, but we're looking for career progress jobs that provide a self-sustaining, eventually family-sustaining wage and benefits for people, okay? I defy you to find anybody that's not in Illinois who retired from McDonald's. So that's something that we try, and we try to plant that seed for career awareness. So what we're planning to do, we've already convened a regional planning group to apply for the Department of Labor Building Pathways to Infrastructure Jobs Grant Program. Some people in that group are in this room. It was, the RFP was finally released last Wednesday, just in time for a holiday weekend. So we will be reconvening and discussing that. And if anyone in this room, any organizations represented here, it is not involved in this, please do let me know. We are happy to include. Yes, ma'am.
I do have a question regarding next. I think there are some other efforts. and I
Of
think
course.
The whole purpose of this group was to figure out how we can come together to strengthen a bigger proposal for the bigger regions. So, if I can connect with you
Sure.
afterwards to figure out how we want to do that, because I think the
Absolutely.
strength in numbers is actually key for these types of things.
Well, I think as we saw, I agree with you, as I think we saw on the state level, people who kind of went out on their own, or organizations went out on their own, did not receive any money, but the big group did. So I'm with you. The more people we have, the more money there is. I have found from reading it, there's a 15% match, whether it's cash or in kind or both. I don't know yet. It was a 70-page proposal, and forgive me, I didn't read the whole thing before I got here. But yes, Jennifer, I'm happy to do so. We also want to make better use of our website. We have a website, right? So, we want to have maybe a location and distributor for job openings. We'd like to have a direct link to Ohio Means Jobs and all those services. And at the statewide level, through the Complete to Compete process, I'm on that group as well, workforce development and work-based learning, all the different titles. There will be a section on the Ohio Means Jobs website under for employers that will be called the HOPE Initiative, helping Ohioans pursue employment. And that will allow people access to, I need help. Do I want an apprenticeship? Do I want an intern? Do I want a co-op? Do I want to hire people? So, and get them in touch with the programs and the different opportunities that they might have to access help for their work. And then also to connect job seekers to the community resources to help them prepare for the educational access to these opportunities. Dave and I were talking just last week a little bit about the fact that the accelerated programs that you offer at YSU and through other organizations are awesome, but especially when you have returning adults, or if you have adult career changers, it's been a minute since they've had algebra. It's been a minute since they've had to read for comprehension or whatever. And we want to make sure that they have the tools they need to successfully complete these programs. Poor Jennifer, very first time I ever met her, I cornered her and asked and talked her ear off about the fact that what are we going to do with people who aren't ready, who would like to do these things? And I refuse to kick them back into play. So I'm surprised Jennifer still talks to me. Anyway, so those are some things that we plan. Go ahead with the next one, Melissa. Or did you already say? I can't see. So again, what we want to do is we want to create a larger footprint in the schools, right? As I told you, my path is in Youngstown, Warren, Camel. My friend Michelle Merkel is here from Junior Achievement and graciously gave us part of their curriculum for preparing for a job fair. So we are working with the students about what you do, how you interact, creating an elevator pitch, et cetera, et cetera. So the things that they don't have time to get to in high school, right? And so Michelle is one of our sponsors. Gina Jog is one of our sponsors for the event in 2 weeks. So, I have a lot of friends in this room, so this is awesome. We want to create, our original plan was to develop a stronger referral network among the consortium, right? So to say, if I know someone wants to do this, that, or the other thing, we have how many welding programs? Lots, right? Well, we should be just saying to a student, all right, you want to go weld? Here. There are a lot of programs that you can sign up for if you want to weld. If you're not sure, just go shadow, go see what you want to do. Listen, if I had to do all over again, who's to say I wouldn't want to be a welder? We want to function and have a presence as a stronger part of the regional workforce strategy. That's really, really the ultimate goal. And then also we want to complete the process of expanding from Youngstown Works to Mahoning Valley Works. I have a letter of commitment from Doug Franklin, the mayor of Warren, and that's going. It's slow, but it's going, and it's going to happen. And we have a new website, and we have a new logo, but this is so go to the next slide, Melissa. This is the one you'll see now. This will say Mahoning Valley Works. And we also got the domain for the website as well. So that's all. That was longer than Melissa told me to be, so sorry. Any questions for me? Awesome. Thank you very much for your attention.
I'm gonna back up one further and say any questions for Gina either. Just trying to keep it. moving.
I told you, they've either heard by force or by choice, so people pretty much don't know.
No, I think this is great. Jerry mentioned that the chamber is managing employer registration. We also want to be cognizant that, again, another big priority of this group is to make sure we're minimizing the duplication. Some is okay, because if there's a lot of people to serve out there, then I think that's excellent. We need to have seats to fill and job placements to make and help manage that along the way. But what assets can each organization bring to the bigger picture, to the bigger planning process? So I think those that have presented already for answering some of those questions and giving the opportunity for folks in the room to make suggestions, ask questions, and prepare yourselves for the further planning process that we have coming. I'll turn it over to Michelle Mirko now from Junior Achievement.
Good morning. I'm here today to talk to you about two of our capstone facilities and opportunities that are now open and available to our youth in Mahoning, Trumbull, Ashtabula, and Columbiana counties. For those of you, how many of you are familiar with Junior Achievement and the work that we do? Okay, some of you. Junior Achievement is a worldwide organization. We have 100 offices in the United States, 8 offices in the state of Ohio. We have been in existence for over 100 years and over 70 years here in the Mahoning Valley. Our focus has always been financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship. We reach students from kindergarten through 12th grade, and as of this year, JA Worldwide has expanded our reach to youth as up to age 25. Most of our programs are delivered in the classrooms by business volunteers in the community on topics that align with the state standards and correlations. Pretty much our market share here in our 4 counties, we serve about 13,000 students, which is 14% of the student population that we reach. 2 of the programs are called capstones. This is a PDF instead of a PowerPoint that I say. Pittsburgh just opened up their BizTown. They were set to open up prior to COVID. COVID happened. Of course, they could not do in-person visits. Columbus, Ohio's had a BizTown. They just opened up their finance park last week. Fort Wayne has a finance park, etc. Columbus is set to open up 2 more. And Cleveland is already in the discussion of building a BizTown with the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. So what is BizTown? BizTown is basically a miniature city, a facility where students in the elementary grades of 4th, 5th, and 6th attend a 1-day visit after they prepare a 12-week curriculum taught by the teacher to run a city. So they are the employees, they are the workers of that. They are the mayors, they're the government officials. They get a paycheck. They have to go and purchase items. They have to pay taxes. They run that city for a day. And so the next slide will show you. And if you click on the link, this is going to be Pittsburgh's facility. And I have to mention before we click on that, but Sandy and Rob and I took a trip down to the Pittsburgh facility last week and got to visit BizTown, and she could speak to it too. But once you walk through those doors and see that city and see these kids running, it's just amazing. So this will give you an idea. This is the Pittsburgh office and their facility. That might be a quick commercial ad. and then-
Also need to figure out audio, that's. I'm not play audio on this. Excuse me, yeah.
That's your big, hairy, brand audacious idea. I could not share it at that meeting. I
Oh.
have to see it. But I haven't showed my part.
If I could just chime in, I did go with Michelle, Rob and I went down last week. It was absolutely amazing. It's real world visual. I mean, I went around and I talked to the different storefronts, the adults that were running that program. I talked to the students. Every student said they would come back in a heartbeat. They loved it. The volunteers or the teachers that were in those storefronts just thought it was the best thing. And my big thing was when they walk into the storefront, how do they know what to do? Like, how does this all mesh together? There's a computer in every store, and it tells the student, it walks in, there's links that go in order, tells them exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And not only are they doing loans, but they're learning about being on a lunch break. And while you're on lunch break, you're gonna go use the restroom while you're on your lunch break, and that's when you're gonna go cash your paycheck. They have one of the kids were walking around and they were delivering FedEx packages. There were police walking around and, if you were caught running through the streets, you got a ticket. It is just amazing. So the ESC is working with, Michelle, and we are hoping to pursue this and bring this to, the valley.
Yeah.
Can I, and Dave, I wonder if David's still here, so, super, like, I'm having this aha moment.
Well,
This
you
is
have
how-
to see fun. I have-
Well, I want to share, so David Jim, has anybody here been to the Magnet campus, in Cleveland?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so tying in the advanced manufacturing and some of the things that Magnet is doing, and how do we replicate that, so students can come in. And they're just doing some really cool things. Ethan's willing to help in any way we can. So I think about this, I think about Magnet, I can't wait to see the finance, and then tying it into, oh, wow, and like all these assets for these children. I mean, this is.
It is. So this is the big, hairy, audacious, but again, we'll go to Finance Park, I'll show that and I'll explain why you have to see Finance Park and the next step. So Finance Park is on the next slide, Elaine. And it is for middle and high school students. It is also a miniature city. For us, the recommendation is talking to Sandy, we would have to have a dual city. That would be flipped to be used as a biz town and flipped to be used as a finance park. So the same thing, but the students come in, welcome to the real world, you're adults now. They have a scenario. You're married, you have kids, you have debt, now you have to budget and make your life work. So there's two overview. We'll just do this one, and you probably have to let them know. Sorry, Melissa, I appreciate it if they have it.
And before, she
video of the fun. Does we talk about the pathway? When we get to the next slide, like I said, Pittsburgh has their Biz Town. They're an hour and 20 minutes away from us. It is an opportunity for our schools and our students to participate. Of course, we drive to Cleveland, and we drive to Pittsburgh all the time. We use that. But the question becomes, what about here in the Mahoning Valley? Can we have this opportunity for our own students? These are the requirements. As I mentioned, I'm part of a worldwide organization, and these are some of the major requirements in order to have it. We have to do an external feasibility study performed with key community leaders, and this is a great place to start in doing that feasibility study. We have to have a strong relationship with our education leaders and school partners. Why? Because I'm in a small market area. And prior to COVID, my student population was around 93,000. My student population is dropping to 87,000. We are close, this close, to possibly not being able to have a Biz Town because of the population. We have to prove, and that's why we have to have a dual facility to reach those student numbers daily that they require. We have to have a strong business and community partners. As you can see, we have storefronts. They are the sponsors. Those sponsorships allow the students to come and maintain a Biz Town. Talk about the market there. 60-mile radius is what we look at servicing. So as we talked about and Melissa mentioned, already Pittsburgh has told us they come all the way up to Mercer, Newcastle, Hermitage, Sharon, Erie, PA. They're on board if we build this because we can serve their students. Plus Akron, Canton, Cleveland, and so forth. Dual facility space. This is what's required. I need 13,000 to 15,000 square feet just to accommodate 150 students a day. Lease where I can own the property. Technology is throughout the program, as Sandy said. We have to have strong technology. All those kids have iPads, Chromebooks. It's infused. We have to pay a one-time capstone fee to Gay USA of $10,000. Capstone visits are required before implementation. So I have to take as many visits as possible, and as many people to Pittsburgh or down to Columbus at the nearest facility so that you can see it firsthand. So we have to schedule this. We have to have a budget, we have to have a campaign, and we have to show 2-year operating expense. It's a big, big commitment, but I just want to lay out the expectation in order to have a facility like this in the Mahoning Valley for our students. Any questions? So I can't do it by myself, just junior achievement. It takes a community, and like I said, all ESCs have to be involved. There's 12 teachers have to teach 12 lessons prior. They have to have teacher development. This is not a fly by night, just like we talked to Bill and show up the kids. They have to prepare prior to coming to this one-day event. And yes, this facility can be used for multiple things, as Bill Lucas was telling us in Cleveland. The other thing, they use it for adults. They use it for special needs. They use it continuously. They have summer camp throughout the year. So it's a multi-purpose facility. It's just not a one-day event, and it can be used for a variety of things too, and resources. I mean, you could send adults through this. With the financial education with that, and just get some hands-on learning and budgeting. So, any questions?
This would be, what would be the individual organization contribution to part? I see you have to pay a capstone fee of $10,000, but I mean, so there are different organizations even represented in this room. What would that be part of the capital campaign?
It's all part of the feasibility study. I'll tell you, in Atlanta, Georgia, their facilities start at $30 million. They're called Chick-fil-A Discovery Center.
Okay.
Bill, they leased their space. They renovated it for $1.5 million. They paid $22,000 a month on that. Is that comparable to our area? No. So I don't, have half a staff with these facilities. It comes with the feasibility study is, do we have a space for location? Is it gonna be owned? Is it gonna be rented? Once we figure out the costs, that are associated, I've been doing junior achievement in the Hyundai compared to my others, and our cost is nowhere compared to Columbus cost, Pittsburgh cost, Cleveland cost. We can implement so much cheaper here, unfortunately. That they can do it. So I won't know until we do this. And that's why it's required. So it's not something I can build it and hopefully they will come. The committee a group has to come together and we have to have our community say, yes, we want this, we support it. We have to meet those student numbers. That's what I'm scared about.
Well, with career counseling services, we already are in 22 plus school districts in 4 different counties, and that just keeps on growing. So I think with all of us coming together, plus we have this committee, and then monthly the ESC hosts a business advisory council meeting that a lot of people that are in the room are on that committee. I think with everybody coming together, and I think that's what our big goal is here, is that everybody comes together. Let's put the walls down and work together, that this can definitely happen. And what an amazing thing that our students can experience that takes them from that 4th, 5th grade level all the way up to be seniors. And like Michelle said, I think this is going to reach more school districts than what we're servicing now because of that 60-mile radius. They're going to want to be a part of it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then we're following it up with our career counseling team, and we're going back into those classrooms and we're following up with what they're learning, not only in the JA curriculum once they go to BizTown, but we're back in those classrooms afterwards as a follow-up.
Any questions? Okay. So again, that is an opportunity and we will continue to have this conversation. Like I said, I don't know how the chamber, but we'll have to schedule visits to go.
Yeah, I think I can help facilitate. We can get more than a couple people.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be more than willing to help.
Michelle, did you say the closest finance is that Columbus?
Well, Columbus just opened up there, so probably Portland, Indiana, will probably be the next. Okay.
So intriguing. I'm sitting here just humbled about the people in the room that are working together and excited about the idea. And you clearly articulated in a blueprint form what will need to happen, right? Because we have these conversations and we're saying we want to work together, we want to be a good partner, where it makes sense, right? And I think this is a greatly pitched idea that totally makes sense, and it's a great asset to the Regional Workforce Coalition and also enhances the efforts that were stated in the application. I really appreciate everyone that presented today.
I just want to be clear up front. As this town gets built throughout, like I said, there's 2 more steps to be built in Columbus, Cleveland's doing it. I have to say, Valerie went to Texas for training, and why don't we have these programs here? So the more people are exposed to this, but this is what we need to do, and it has to be a collaborative effort.
Yes, thank you for setting the foundation. And lastly, I'll welcome Sandy Ferrano to present on behalf of the ESC of Eastern Ohio, and what a great follow-up to the contribution with junior achievement. Good morning, everybody. I'm Sandy Ferrano. I'm the Director of Career Counseling Services at the Educational Service Center of Eastern Ohio. Just to give you a real quick background, we have 5 career counselors that service over 22 plus school districts. If we're not close to a school district, we are consulting with them on our career counseling services. So to follow up with Michelle, I think this is gonna be a win-win for a lot of people, not only our students in our school districts, but it's going to be able to help us expand those career counseling services in the school districts that we're servicing, and then also hopefully growing our business advisory council and bringing everybody together to have those storefronts at BizTown. So to kind of follow up with that, some things that we're working on are pre-apprenticeships through our career counseling department. Our first pre-apprenticeship was with Gary Hartman and the Builders Association, where we implemented the building trades pre-apprenticeship. That's been going on for about 2 years strong now. As a lot of you know, that's where our Skilled Trades Expo came from, where we have at the Canfield Fairgrounds about 4,500 to 5,000 students come and visit us every September at the fairgrounds to get that hands-on experience about the trades and the many trades that are offered out there. And talking to Michelle, like I could see our students that are in the building trades helping build BizTown, because that would give them so much experience, and maybe to put a school's name on a school or on a storefront that said built by Boardman Local Schools or United Local Schools. So we want to continue those pre-apprenticeships. We want to be able to go into school districts and say, not only do we have a building trades pre-apprenticeship, but the next one we're working on is an IT pre-apprenticeship in partnership with YSU Workforce Development Office. Our hope is to launch this pre-apprenticeship by fall of 2023. After that pre-apprenticeship, we are already starting to line up a pre-apprenticeship for culinary or the food service industry, and then also for healthcare. So we're really looking forward to these different opportunities that we could bring to the students and the different options that we can bring to them. Another thing that we applied for grant-wise was a grant for driver's education. We're finding that a lot of our students that have financial hardship are waiting till they're 18 because they don't have to go through a formal driver's ed course. We did receive a grant. It's for $45,000 over 2 years that will help our students that have financial hardship. We will pay for their driver's education so they can get to if they want to drive out to BizTown and go to a finance park, if they want to go to a pre-apprenticeship, if they need to go to an interview, a job shadow. So we have a call at the end of this month, and then after that call with the grant facilitator, we will be launching that grant and hopefully being able to help our students in our area get those get their license and be able to get places that they need to go. And that's pretty much all I have. This time was on my list, but I think we already covered that. Any questions for me? All right, thank you. Just keep naturally gravitating back here to make sure those on Zoom can hear. I left a spot on the agenda for anything that's good for the order, quick updates. And as always, if you're not submitted on the agenda, please, there's always time for you to speak for the allotted amount of time. So I welcome anyone that has an update. Okay. Well, expect a virtual and in-person invite on May 9th for MCCTC Joyce Brooks Conference Center. We hope to have the procured planner there. And I thank you for your flexibility ahead of time. If we cannot make that date happen, I think there's absolutely a beneficial opportunity to still meet May 9th in addition to whatever else the procured planner needs. So we'll see what we can make happen. And I welcome your suggestions in the meantime. Thanks. Have a good week.